Hey there, welcome back to another video. This time around, it is my rant on what is honestly easily the biggest letdown when it comes to a film that I've seen in 2021 to date, Army of the Dead. Now, there are some things about this movie that I absolutely adored. I loved the opening credit sequence. It was bloody, it was brilliant, it was a blast, it was a really wonderful way to start the film. And there were some other aspects of it that I enjoyed. The zombie tiger, that was a lot of fun. I liked the sequence with the safe and how the crew used the zombies in a clever way to trigger the fail safes and the defense mechanisms. Uh, the action when it was there, like when Chambers is fighting against the horde of zombies, the sequence near the end and the climax with Bautista gunning down all these zombies that are just coming in waves. That's a really fun, thrilling, exciting action set piece. But honestly, for a film that's 2.5 hours, there's really only about maybe 35 minutes of memorable, exciting action. And the rest is really boring, poorly conceived Disney Channel original movie family drama. And piss poor, pathetic attempts at trying to be funny. Like, excuse me, you can't say easy peasy Japanesey anymore. Uh, the, try easy peasy lemon squeezy. I'm not fucking around. That's an actual bit of attempted humor in this movie. And the tired trope of the guy who's kind of nerdy and not really your usual tough guy who also screams like a girl. Yeah, we have that as well. Um, but yeah, pathetic attempts at humor, a tone that's so off kilter that it gives you whiplash, a severe case of whiplash. The origin for the zombie apocalypse is a fucking blowjob gone wrong because some guy's getting a blowjob by his wife while he's driving, and he's driving on the same road as a military convoy, and apparently as soon as he busts a nut, he busts his way into the convoy and causes an explosion, makes them lose their payload, which just around the same time as he lost his load, and the payload this time around is a fucking zombie who then escapes and then bites people and then causes a fucking zombie outbreak in Las Vegas. All because of a fucking blowjob. And then by the end of the movie, it's this super serious, dark, gritty fucking drama with barely no survivor. Well, actually, only one survivor. And essentially making the argument that everyone is going to be fucked by a massive, giant zombie dick because the outbreak is going to spread past Las Vegas and probably infect the entire fucking world. So yeah, great, great. Starts with a zombie blowjob, and then it's super serious and dark with this everybody is fucked ending, and then you're like, what the hell is this shit? You have lame attempts at humor about easy peasy lemon squeezy. You got Tig Notaro and her dumbass Ellen DeGeneres monologue kind of jokes. You've got a opening credit sequence which is over the top and zany in terms of a lot of the violence and gore. I mean, you have showgirls with their tits flopping out, going after Elvis impersonators and Liberace wannabes, and then you've got this serious family drama in between, and then you got an ending which makes you think that Zack Snyder's trying to be John Carpenter and John Carpenter's The Thing, but unlike in John Carpenter's The Thing, it's not deserved. It's not earned. It's forced. So, I know I've already started off ranting and rambling, but it's because this film is such a frustrating, disappointing dud of a movie. It wastes its potential like it wastes ammo. You know, when it goes in and just blows away all these zombies and leaves so much spent ammo shells on the floor, that's the potential that's left there on the floor, rotting along with the zombies. So it's directed by Zack Snyder, and I'm not going to sit here and say that Zack Snyder's directing was bad. His directing was good. He did a great job. Visually, this film is very vivid, very striking. Actually felt that he didn't overdo the slow mo too much, which was a really nice change of pace for Snyder as of late. And when it comes to the action sequences, I thought he did an amazing job keeping the adrenaline flowing, and the sequences that were taking place in the casinos or sequences that were trying to have a big size and scope to them, I thought he nailed it. Used his camera angles well, used the zoom, the pans, the establishing shots. You can tell that Zack Snyder is a professional. Like he's spent a lot of time honing his craft. So directing wise, great job. I'm not gonna say the directing is a problem because it isn't. He also did the cinematography, and this film looks great. So I got to give him a lot of credit for that in terms of the way the film looks. Uh, the issue though is with this screenplay by Zack Snyder, Shea Hatton, and Joby Harold. Now, before I get even further into this, which I've already pretty much spoiled some things anyway, but since I'm really late to the party when it comes to doing this review, I don't really feel that bad in terms of spoiling some things. But this is going to go into massive spoilers if you haven't seen the movie, because there's no other way that I can really dissect and pick apart why this film fails so much without providing spoilers. So, the story, like I said earlier, starts off on a ridiculous note with the zombie outbreak beginning because of a blowjob gone awry. And you have the opening credits, which is establishing all these different characters who are going to Vegas and trying to uh, save people who are left behind from the zombies. And that's where you're introduced to Dave Bautista's character, Scott Ward, as well as Vanderohe, uh, Maria. You also have, I think those are really the main ones. Like the other rest of the cast are characters that are brought in after the fact. There's this other gal. I don't really know who she was. I don't know who the actress was, but she's introduced in the opening credits. She was like a normal, everyday, kind of not necessarily stay-at-home mom, but not really what you would call a badass. And she evolves over time to becoming one of these key members of this group who saves people from these zombies. And she actually does wind up finding her daughter, and then ultimately still dies. And she gets eaten along with her daughter by the zombies. And that scene should be more powerful, but it's not, because you don't know jack shit about this character. There's no character development. I think it would have been better if we had more of that character, had that character be an integral part of the story early on, and then have what happened with her and her daughter happen like halfway through the movie. Why are you having that happen in the opening credits? I don't know who the fuck she is. I don't even know what her fucking name is. And you have this really big dramatic moment with her getting eaten by the zombies, and I'm supposed to feel? Why? Why am I supposed to feel anything? I don't know who the fuck this character is. I don't even get her name. If the name was provided, it was very brief and it wasn't very obvious. So even during the opening credits, which is fun, I mean, there's some fun gore. I mean, you have Omari Hardwick's character. Vanderohe with a massive jaws of life saw sawing through zombies. You've got the scene I was talking about earlier with zombie showgirls attacking guys and killing people in jacuzzis. You've got a ton of headshots and a lot of just crazy blood and gore and carnage. It was a fun opening credit sequence. I wish the film was more of that, like a non-stop bit of zombie craziness and over the top insanity instead of this really forgettable heist film mixed with an even more dull and unremarkable drama. So you have the opening credit sequence, and then you got to introduce this character of Kate, who is the worst character in the fucking film, and honestly one of the worst written characters I've seen this year. I hate this character so much. Kate, more like taint, because she licks and sucks all kinds of fucking taint throughout this terrible movie. So this character is the daughter of Bautista's character, Ward, Scott Ward. And she's a selfish fucking bitch. Right from the beginning, she rubs you the wrong way with this. It seems like this not necessarily superiority, I don't think that's the right word, but definitely not all there in terms of, actually not all there is not the right word, immature. That's the best way to put it. She's very immature, and she almost gets her so-called friend in a lot of trouble with the officer who's the guy who's patrolling the quarantine, Cummings. And what happens is this character who you barely get to know anything about other than the fact that she's acquaintances with Kate, and she also has a couple kids. I think her name is Gita. And so Gita decides to go on her own, to go into Vegas to try to find some money, and she doesn't come back. So when the plan is made for Ward and his team to go into Vegas and try to steal this money from this vault in one of these casinos, this character, Kate, Taint, decides to tag along, but like in the worst, most selfish way possible. Like she just says, "I'm going, whether you like it or not. I'm gonna go try to find Gita. I'm gonna try to find her. She's my friend. And if you don't like it, tough shit. I might die." And I'm with a lot of other people where I'm like, fucking die! I don't give a shit. I don't give a fuck. I don't give a fuck. I don't give a fuck. I don't give a fuck about you. You stupid ass bitch. I don't give a fuck about that character. So it's supposed to be this moment where she stands up to her dad and is like, I might die. And you're like, so who gives a shit? I don't care about this character. She's a selfish bitch. She's a fucking taint. And she tags along. And then what does she do near the end of the movie? Fucks off, goes on her own, and decides to go try to find Gita at the head zombies hideout, the Casino Olympus. So she goes over there and, of course, predictably fucks things up. And then if that isn't bad enough, by the end of the fucking movie, she's the only one left standing. Whose bright idea was this? Which one of these writers is responsible for this absolutely abysmal, atrocious idea to have the last survivor be the least likable character? There's a reason why that doesn't happen in these kind of films very often. Because it makes the journey fucking pointless. Why the hell would I ever want to rewatch this movie if I know that by the end of it, any of the characters I give two shits about don't make it out alive. It's like if at the end of Aliens, Gorman was the only guy left. Ripley died, Hicks died, Newt died, Hudson died, Vasquez died. They did die in Aliens, but it would be like all of them. All of the main characters, the characters you liked the most, fucking died, and you were left with Gorman as the last survivor. Or fucking Burke. You'd be like, this movie fucking sucks. Really, you would be. You'd be like, that is fucking terrible. But just because this movie has some fun bits of gore, some exciting bits of action, it's getting a pass for some reason. I don't understand that. The screenplay is so fucking stupid, idiotic, and poorly conceived that pretty much all of the potential and all of the goodwill this film has gets blown away like a bullet to a zombie's fucking skull. All of the brains, too. Just eaten out. Might as well, this movie might as well have eaten out my asshole. As well as my brain. So yeah, I hate the fucking ending so goddamn much. It's not earned. This character sucks. And if that isn't bad enough, I like the character of Vanderohe. He's gonna be fucked, and they assassinate his fucking character. Out of nowhere, he's a selfish asshole who takes all the money, goes on a goddamn private plane, and, oh, I got a bite on me. Oh shit, I'm gonna be the new King Zombie. Why the fuck would Vanderohe do that willingly? Everything that you saw with this character established that he was a stand-up guy. A guy who was willing to sacrifice himself for the greater good. A guy who, on his free time after he spent all this time and effort trying to save people during the outbreak in Vegas, he was helping elderly people recover at a elderly patient facility. Why the fuck would he all of a sudden be like, I'm going to take the money, I'm going to run, I'm going to be flying with some bitches on a plane, and then I'm going to willingly become the King Zombie? He doesn't automatically decide, fuck, I got to do something to take my ass out. Because if I don't do that, this shit's going to start up all over again, and a lot of people are going to fucking die. And it's going to be my fucking fault. Would it be depressing? Yeah, sure. But it would make sense with his character. It makes no sense for him to just sit there and be like, yep, all right, this is going to happen. Doesn't make any fucking sense whatsoever that he would do that. Such a massive shift in character. But it fits because this film is so full of tonal shifts. Like I said, it gives you a massive case of whiplash as well as a massive fucking headache. So yeah, this is probably going to be titled Epic Rant. Because the more I think about this movie, it fucking blows. There's only like a few things that I liked about it. In terms of the characters, there's only 2 characters in this screenplay that I actually was invested in. Grant. Well, actually not Grant. Grant's that's a different film entirely. Well, why the hell did Grant come to mind? I just talked about Slither. What the fuck? My brain is apparently committing suicide right now. It's just like, nope. Ward and Vanderohe. I didn't give a shit about Maria, who was just a discount Salma Hayek. I didn't give 2 fucks about Dieter, who was German Anthony Michael Hall. I didn't care about Lily, who's just a Family Dollar version of Brigitte Nielsen. Definitely didn't care about Tig Notaro's character, Peters. The horribly unfunny comic relief. Guzman, just a Mexican YouTuber. That was a really stupid thing too. Yeah, on YouTube, they're going to allow some guy to become massively popular by uploading extremely violent videos of him shooting zombies in the head. YouTube would never allow that. Those videos would never even be posted. They would never even make it past the fucking algorithm or the program they have in place. It would get fucking blocked worldwide for being too violent. But somehow he becomes a massive YouTube star. Bullshit. So this guy, Mexican YouTuber, brings in his friend Chambers, which this character gets all kinds of praise online, and this character is fucking weak. Other than her one action sequence where she goes down in a blaze of glory. I will give that sequence a lot of credit. It's well choreographed. It's got some nice gunplay. But that character fucking sucks. She leaves no lasting impression because you don't get to know her that well at all. The most memorable thing about her is her actions in that action sequence. It's not her personality. It's not her charisma. For a character that's clearly inspired by Vasquez, the writers clearly did not understand what made that character so popular and so iconic. That character was so popular and iconic because it was a strong character that had memorable lines of dialogue. Like, "Hey, Vasquez, have you ever been mistaken for a man? No? Have you?" And this, what memorable lines of dialogue did this fucking actress ever have in this role? None. Her line delivery, apparently I can't fucking deliver sentences out of my goddamn mouth properly. I don't know if it's a COVID vaccine shot or it's this fucking movie. Regardless, having a hard time, but I'm going to try my best to power through it, folks. It's what happens when you do things live. So, yeah, she couldn't deliver a line of dialogue with any kind of energy to save her fucking life. She's flat as a fucking board. So why the hell is this character so great? Just because of her one action sequence? That was a great action sequence. That doesn't make Chambers a great character. And she's also kind of a dumb character too, because she was fucked over and double-crossed by this obvious mole. And I think it's the character Martin. I think that's who it is. So she was fucked over by Martin, and I agree with a friend of mine who brought this up. She easily could have just said, "Hey, this guy fucked me over. He tried to kill me. He locked me up." And nope, she doesn't say anything like that. Because, yeah, I know if they did that, then we wouldn't have a movie. But then you could maybe find something else to do. You could have someone else be the goddamn mole. It doesn't have to be the most obvious fucking character. This entire screenplay feels like it was a first draft that never actually had a lot of rewrites, a lot of significant rewrites before it started shooting. And that explains why it has so many issues with its tone, so many problems with the lack of effectiveness with this drama. I do not give a fuck about Taint and whether or not she rebuilds the relationship with her father. There was a really rough, incredibly hard scene to watch that made me hate this character even more, where she's supposedly having a heart-to-heart with her dad, and then she says, "Oh, it'll be hard for me to stop hating you, and I don't think I will be able to." And it was just one of those things where the reason why she hated her dad for so long is because he didn't comfort her all the time. He wasn't always at her side 100% of the fucking time after he had to traumatically kill his own wife and her mother. That's why she hated him for so long. And he even has a line of dialogue, "Well, I tried to come back into your life, but you seemed like you didn't want me there." so I stopped trying. So he fucking tried to help you out. He tried to be there for you, and you were a selfish fucking bitch and didn't want to fucking learn how to work through things. You didn't think about how he felt after he had to fucking kill his wife in such a traumatic fashion. Just because he didn't immediately come to your side. He didn't immediately coddle your ass. He's now the worst father in the world. Fuck Kate. So yeah, Kate sucks. The drama with her sucks. The heist thing, what? There was not even really a point for the heist, because the money ultimately is pretty much gone to waste. The daughter's gonna try to do something to help the quarantine people, but if the zombie apocalypse actually does happen, like it's hinted at happening in the first place by the end of the movie, that isn't gonna mean anything. So then you have the money that's a complete waste. The rich Asian guy, why did he even set people out to do this? Oh, he needed to get a zombie head to create a zombie military. Fucking come on, a zombie army? What is up with these writers' obsession with aliens? Not only do you have a character like Vasquez complete with the red headband, you have lines of dialogue that are lifted from the film. Lily has one scene where she says, "Oh, you don't see them fucking each other over, like in Aliens." Oh, and then you have the whole thing with the company that wants the force, the intimidating, dangerous force for their military. Like in fucking Aliens. I'm so tired of these films not being their own fucking movies. So like I was saying, I fucking hate it when these films nowadays can't be their own fucking movies. They have to try to be like Aliens or this other film. Just be your own movie. We don't need to have these callbacks, these lazy fucking Easter eggs. We don't need to have a line of dialogue that's lifted from Aliens. You don't need to have the bullshit with the zombie head and the zombie army to begin with, because it's predictable as fuck and it adds nothing to the movie. Oh, except for the reason why the smarter, more intelligent, advanced zombies even decide to even bother dealing with the crew to begin with. Because if the fucking mole doesn't decide to kill his zombie queen, none of that would have ever happened. And speaking of the intelligent zombies, that was fairly well handled. I didn't need to know that they boned and had a zombie baby, but it was at least something different. It was pretty stupid. It was like Rob Zombie levels of bad and bad taste, but okay, all right. But I did like the way that they communicated with one another. I thought the actress who played the zombie queen did a great job. Athena Preample, Richard Citrone was fine as Zeus as well. Although the zombie queen was so wasted. I mean, she's built up to be this big thing, this badass zombie queen, and she gets captured like it's nothing and then gets killed in what feels like 30 seconds. All that build up for jack fucking shit. And I agree with other people's criticisms on the heist angle. Why does this rich guy want the money? Seems like he's better, he's well off. Why does he need the fucking money? Why would you have a plot where a rich guy who's already rich as fuck decides to send a bunch of people to go steal some money? Oh, but because it's a cover. So then you could have the mole who could get the zombie head. But the zombie head, if I remember correctly, it doesn't even have to be the head. It could just be the blood. And does it have to be the zombie queen's blood or the zombie queen's DNA? None of that is ever really fleshed out or explained. So it could just be any one of those fucking smart zombies. If that's the case, that's an easy job. You don't need to hire a team and give them this fake idea of them stealing money from a vault to do that. You don't fucking need that. It's just such a shitty script on so many levels. So yeah, the script sucked for the most part. Except for the opening credits with the carnage and the craziness. The sequence I mentioned earlier with the safe and its fail-safe traps. The zombie tiger when it fucks up Martin. That was a crowd-pleasing moment. Like, just goes to town on his ass. Rips him to shreds. Even tears his face off. The action sequence in the end with all these zombies just all over the place. Just overwhelming everyone. And Bautista just headshotting them and just going crazy and just fucking them up with bullets. It's a great scene. Great action sequence. But then you have the climax where, okay, you got dumbass fucking Taint going after, trying to find Gita and her other friends because of her fucking stupidity and because she's such a Nimrod. One of her friends gets killed by the zombies, and there's this other stuff involving the pilot too, who of course is having a hard time getting the helicopter to work, but eventually does. And of course the extra bit of suspense now, because the date of the nuclear bomb being dropped on Vegas is pushed up, so now they're running out of time. And so you have Kate, and she manages to only be able to save Gita because the other girl gets killed. So Kate, Gita, and Bautista's character, Ward, go up to the top of the building, wait for the helicopter. Lily's also there with the zombie queen head because she's using it to distract Zeus. And one thing about Zeus I did like as well, he wore a helmet, a metal helmet, kind of like Magneto, to prevent people from shooting him in the head. That being said, though, couldn't they just shoot him through the fucking eye and into his brain? I don't know why people who were trying to shoot him were trying to shoot at the metal on his head. Just shoot him through the fucking eye. I know you can do that. I saw in RoboCop 2 when RoboCop shot the guy through the fucking scope. You could shoot somebody in the eye if you're a good enough shot. If you're a good enough shot to shoot somebody in the head repeatedly with accuracy, you could shoot somebody through the fucking eye with accuracy too. But, then we wouldn't have the climax and so on. Regardless, you could have fucking done that at the end. He still has his helmet on. He tries to get on the fucking helicopter, and Bautista shoots him through the fucking eye. But instead, no, we have to have Bautista get bitten by the zombie, which then fucks him over. Lily gets killed too. She literally gets the shaft. And then you have the nuclear explosion, the helicopter crash. Everybody fucking dies, pretty much. The only survivors are Bautista, but only barely, because he's going to turn into a zombie, so he's fucked. And Taint. Whatever Taint did to try to save Gita didn't work, because Gita fucking died in the helicopter crash. So Taint then has to put a bullet in her dad's head. It's supposed to be this big emotional moment. And I don't give a shit because I hate that fucking character. And I hate the fact that Bautista's character, Ward, is fucked with no lube. Oh, and you have Vanderohe, who also was locked in a vault by German Anthony Michael Hall. And then somehow miraculously survived the fucking nuclear explosion in a vault. Okay, I could deal with that. I can deal with Indy surviving a nuke by being in a fridge, but he gets out of the vault and he walks right into what is essentially ground zero after a nuclear blast. At least Indy was a pretty far length away from the fucking atomic cloud. This guy's literally getting up in and breathing in and walking around through nuclear fumes. The guy should have been fucking dead on the spot. But nope, lives because we need to have some setup for a sequel that probably will never fucking happen. So yeah, Vanderohe, he's in the vault, but he's also screwed. Like I said, everyone gets fucked that you like. If you liked any of the other characters, they fucking die. The only people that are satisfied are the few people that actually did like Kate as a character. And people who are willing to just accept a little bit of action, and that's enough for them in terms of a film being worthwhile. I'm sorry, it's not enough for me that there's some bits of gore and some bits of fun action, because everything else is either forgettable or it sucks. So, as you can see, yeah, I'm not a fan of Army of the Dead. Um, and the cast, other than Bautista, who tries so hard, I thought he did a great job with the emotional scenes, with the action scenes. It's such a really disappointing thing to see that this character doesn't make it out. He doesn't get to have a happy ending. I understand it's not always the case, but he fucking deserved it. He had been through hell. He should deserve to have some piece of heaven. Ella Purnell, I'm not going to say her performance was bad as Kate. She played that role well, the bitchy, selfish character, but still hated that character. Omari Hardwick, I liked him. He had personality. He was fun. I thought he had good chemistry with the other cast members. He was the only other cast member who had chemistry with Bautista. Everyone else had zero chemistry with Bautista. Most of the cast had no chemistry with one another. That's another thing that this film lacked. Chemistry with the cast. No wonder the jokes didn't work. No wonder I never really was invested in this group, because they never had any genuine chemistry with one another consistently. It's another thing this film missed that Aliens nailed. And Ana de la Reguera as Maria, nothing. It did nothing for me. Did not give a fuck about that character. When she died, I thought it was actually shot in a way that was kind of laughable. It almost looked like a cartoon when her neck got snapped. Theo Rossi as Cummings, he was an asshole. But not the kind of asshole that you really love to hate. Dieter was annoying. Lily did nothing. I know some people liked her, including a friend of mine. She did nothing for me. Half the time, she could barely even deliver her lines of dialogue. So, nah, not for me. Peters sucked Peter as the pilot. Tig Notaro was a last minute replacement for Chris D'Elia, who was replaced because he was accused of doing some pretty wrong and fucked up things, and understandably so, he was replaced as a result. But this adds another problem to a film that is already littered with problems. It makes every scene that Tig Notaro is in completely ineffective, because you can tell that it was shot on a green screen. It was shot multiple days or months later, after the other sequences in the film. She has no opportunity to even develop any real chemistry with the rest of the cast, because she was never on the screen or on the set with anyone. So there was never a moment for her to be able to develop that. So her scenes really do play out like she's shooting them in a backlot somewhere with no one else but her and a fucking green screen. It doesn't help either that the jokes that she's given are lame and unfunny. But yeah, she did nothing for me. I know a lot of people on the internet are like, she's the best character. I don't get that at all. I really don't. Guzman, like I said, he's a Mexican YouTuber. Who gives a fuck about this guy? Barely even know who he is. Seems like he's a cocky asshole most of the time. Did nothing for me. Chambers had a badass action sequence, but that's all. That's all that character ever had. And that's all that character is in terms of anything that leaves an impact. Gita, she's a mom. She fucked off to Vegas to try to get some money and got fucked over. Whoa. Woohoo. Martin, he's a fucking mole who becomes Tiger Chow. That's your cast. Other than Bautista and Hardwick, this cast is a hard sell for me. Very hard sell. The score by Tom Holkenberg, at times it was alright, but the rest of the time, it was in one ear and out my asshole. The songs that they used for this, really fucking egregious, terrible, embarrassing covers of songs like The Bad Moon Rising, Zombie, Suspicious Minds. But really, the worst one was Bad Moon Rising. I hated that cover so much. It was pure, just ear bleeding torture. I hate those kind of covers. And the editing by Dodie Dorn, it was pretty good. I'll give it that. From a technical standpoint, the editing was good. From a technical standpoint, the film was good on a lot of different levels. Direction, editing, cinematography, the makeup effects when they were there. There was some dodgy CGI though, especially when there was an explosion. Some of the stuff with the CGI tiger wasn't really that impressive. But for the most part, it's a good film on a technical level. But where it counts the most, with its characters and with its story, it's a massive misfire for me. So, yeah, I did not expect I was going to rant on this for 42 minutes, but you know what? I had a lot to say. I had a lot to get off my chest when it comes to this movie. If you like this film, I have no problem with that whatsoever. I think that's great. I just wanted a big, loud, dumb, over the top zombie action film. I didn't want a Disney Channel original movie family drama mixed in. I didn't want a film with a tone that is never consistent. I didn't want a lame, completely generic, one-note heist movie. I just wanted a zombie action film. That's all. And this film only delivered that barely. For a 2.5 hour long movie, I only got that for like 35 minutes. The rest of the 2 hours, I could care less about. It didn't do that much for me at all. Didn't do much to get me invested. Made the film feel like it was 4.5 hours long because I was never really fully invested in the majority of things. It just kind of sat there. And it's too bad. I thought Snyder had a real chance here to get back on track, and it just didn't happen for me. They just continued on the same path. I don't know why this guy thinks that he can't just make a consistent, fun, over-the-top action movie or make a zombie film without trying to have some kind of fucking message or trying to preach to the audience or trying to be dark and gritty. I don't know why he can't just make a lighthearted, over-the-top, dumb action movie in the style of like maybe Deadpool. I don't know why he thinks he can't fucking do that. He's very capable of it, as evidenced by sequences like during the opening credits. But I got nothing else. My arm is killing me. It's fucking sore. And I am just done. I'm spent. I got nothing else to say about this movie. Thanks for watching my review and my rant on it, though. And as always, I'll see you later. See ya. And fuck Kate. This character I hate that makes me feel so irate. She can have a date with a fucking great because she's a fucking taint.